Rema doesn't need my promo, but like, I love him. Go stream his new album right now. Bruh. What's good, guys? So, I'm going to bed now. I had a random thought, so I thought I would share it. But I've literally okay, this can be attributed to my university because there's a club there for African people, and I feel like African culture is being put on a pedestal right now because like Afrobeats is such a big thing, and like Black Panther and all that stuff. Like we're getting into the mainstream media, and like I'm Nigerian, obviously, as everybody knows, and like I've been tapped in. I've been tapped into the niggas, been tapped into the Nigerians, and I think it's so lit. Like, bruh, no disrespect to the whiteys, but being white would be so boring. Like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? You're telling me your mom doesn't make you jollof? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's bad parts, obviously, about being an immigrant child and, like, being first gen and, like, being African, obviously. And that's what I was tapped into for most of my life. Like, I would act white all the time. And obviously, you can't act a color, but, like, I would censor myself from the Nigerian parts of my personality and, like, my identity. I would always, like, censor it and, like, diminish it. But now that it's being widely accepted by the general population, it's so dope because I can just like tap into it whenever I want. And it's like trendy kind of, which is kind of bad because trends always leave, unfortunately. But I'm fucking with this. Big ups to all the African niggas. Let's fucking go, bitches. Like, what the hell? Like, as much as obviously it would be nice to be white, like, who wouldn't want to be white? Let's keep it a buck. If you're, instead of palm colored, you know, at some point in the game, you wanted to be a white girl with blonde hair. And at some other point in the game, I'm still at that point in the game. Let's stop acting like we're not at that point in the game still. Because it's actually hard to be unconventionally attractive. And it's actually hard to fucking live in this society as a nigger. But being African, like, and also like even just Black culture in general, but African especially, and Nigerian especially, like, I think being a Nigerian is so lit. Like, I get why my parents were trying to force that shit down my throat. They said, Anu, you will eat pounded yam today. You will eat jollof rice today. And I didn't get why they tried to like really get it into my veins. They tried to get it into my veins, y'all. And like, okay, but sidebar, like, my parents really wanted me to be able to speak Yoruba growing up, which is my native language. And I can't speak it really, like, it just doesn't really roll off the tongue. But I can understand Yoruba 100%. And like, I never got why they really, really wanted me to hold on to it. But now I get it. I feel like it's such a sick like trait, like to be not white. Like, that's the only fun part is the culture. I love the culture. I live for the culture. I live for the African culture. Like, and that's my bad. Like, my internalized racism is making me not tap in. But I'm tapped in now, guys. I'm tapped in now. I'm literally tapped in. Like, go stream Rema's album right now. Go stream it right fucking now. And fucking Davido and fucking Rema are coming to Toronto this summer, and I actually want to go so bad. But I don't really have money. As you guys know, I'm unemployed right now. But I start work on Sunday. Anyways, that's not the point. But I think it's really interesting how African culture is being put on a pedestal right now in modern times, like in 2023. Like, everybody's big upping Afrobeats and all that type of shit. The cultural appropriation is also running rampant, but that doesn't, I'm not saying, please don't come and flug me. Don't come for me, guys. I want all the whiteys, all the palm colored people, all the non-blacks, come and enjoy the culture. I'm not restricting you. Please don't flug me. But you can do whatever, enjoy it. But don't claim it. Not too fucking much now. Not too fucking much now. Not too fucking much, but we'll talk about that in another video. But hear me when I say not too fucking much now, because I will come for you personally. But that's not the point. But I think it's really interesting. I saw a TikTok and there was like, I'm gonna be getting this wrong. Let me just come back. Give me 1 second. Okay, I looked it up to make sure I was getting part of it right. But there's this guy, he just, what's the name of those people? Like a sociologist, probably? I don't know, something like that. But like, he's just a critical thinker and he's like well acclaimed. And he has a book. His name's Frank. Okay, guys, so his name is Frank Williamson III. Anyways, there's a lot of predecessors of this framework of thinking when it comes to Africa. So there's basically 2 frameworks from my limited knowledge that I found out from this TikTok that I saw. So basically it was talking about how there's a framework of mind called Afrofuturism. And Afrofuturism basically is like a utopian sort of society post-colonialism and slavery, where Africans like develop like all of this like cool technology and they're basically just on their come up and they're just thriving. And then there's another framework that's basically the opposite, and it's called Afro-pessimism, and it talks about the negative effects of slavery and colonialism and all that sort of stuff, and like sort of a more negative African framework of society and like the pitfalls of the aftermath of shit that occurred in Africa a long time ago that we all know. Holy shit. Just fucking dropped my fucking damn phone in my damn face. Anyways, guys. But it's very interesting because I think, at least for African culture, but not Black culture, there's a lot of negativity in Africa right now. Let's all keep it a buck. Like, I don't know who's African watching this, but if you're from like an African country, you obviously know, like, at least in Nigeria, there's a bunch of corruption in government and politics. There's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of poverty and just a lot of issues. And I feel like in the Western world, we have a very Afro-futurism framework of thinking when it comes to Africa right now. Like, I know growing up, like, the only idea that people had of Africa is, like, starving children, right? But now it's, like, Black Panther and, like, all this sort of shit, and, like, Afrobeats is lit and all this kind of stuff, and everybody's wearing African clothing, like African print, everybody's doing cornrows, all this sort of shit. And it's just kind of nuts because if you're living in Africa currently, you're seeing the effects of colonialism modern day and how it's affecting people right now. And it's like we're all like kind of blinded by like the fun parts of being African. It's really interesting. I think I need to learn a little bit more before I talk to you guys about it. I might make another video, but this video is just about how I'm tapping in to the African culture late in the game, which is really embarrassing because, like, I mean, I guess it's not embarrassing because I've never lived in Nigeria, ever. Like, I've only ever lived in the Western world, ever. So it makes sense that I wanted to westernize myself. But now it's like I can just like, I can talk like this. I can chop chin chin and chop puff puff. And I can just be a nigger to my core. I can talk about jollof rice. I can speak the language. I can be a Nigerian girl, a bush girl. Anyways, but I've just been doing it with my chest more often, and it's kind of funny because like it sometimes throws off my white friends, which is really funny, but they get it, I think, to an extent. I think they find it funny, but hopefully it doesn't make them uncomfortable. Except, why should I be worrying about making the white man uncomfortable? Let's talk about that, but we'll talk about that in another video. If you're African, like, I genuinely want the Africans to see this. Like, Are you tapped in? Are you tapped out? And if you're tapped out, like, that's literally completely fine. Like, I feel like we also shouldn't shame people that aren't tapped in, because they haven't been conditioned to want to be tapped into African culture. Like, it has never been cool. It's still not cool. It's only now just trending, which is also a negative thing because trends fade. But I think a lot of African people, they'll be like, you're not even a real Nigerian if you can't speak Yoruba. You're not even a real Nigerian if you can't do this. You can't do leg work. If you can't dance, you can't do this. And it's like, bruh, like, what? Let's keep it a buck. We've been living in the white man's land for how many years? Like, leave them alone. Like, and also, some people's culture isn't a part of their identity. Like, how many white people do you know that can speak Scottish? Answer me that. Like, y'all better leave my African niggas alone. Like, how many white people do you know that can speak German? That are tapped into their history, their culture, their food? What German food are you eating at the dinner table? Yeah. So just leave them alone. Like, your culture doesn't need to be a part of your identity. There's nothing wrong with that. It's literally just the blood that's in your veins. But for me, I think it's lit right now. Like, and also listening to Afro beats boosts your mood, guys. If you wanna be a little bit less, depressed, I would completely recommend listening to some more upbeat music, because personally for me, I only listen to like Steve Lacy, Ella Fitzgerald, Solange, Frank Ocean. What is that a recipe for? Disaster. Hey? My head was disastrous. It was depressed. And it still is to an extent, but like in the moment when you're listening to guys, don't guys, don't fucking copyright me. Anyways, when you're listening to Rema, you're shaking ass. Like, you're shaking ass. And when you're shaking ass, you have what on your face? So listen to more upbeat music, not even just Afrobeats. Listen to whatever upbeat music you want. It will make you a little bit happier. That's my tidbit of advice. And it's been making me a lot happier. I can't even lie to you. And I also up my meds, guys. So that's part of it. But yeah. No, guys. Tap into the African culture, tap out of the African culture. Let me know what you're doing. And it's not even just Africans. All of my immigrants, all of my brethren that are phone, like, I'm all buttered up. I'm all Vaselined up because I'm bed. But all of my brethren that are not Canadian, not American, and are immigrants, tap in the comments and let me know how you feel about your culture and your heritage. And like, let me know how you're feeling, because I think this is it's a really pertinent topic, because everybody's trying to not be palm colored these days. It's so funny to me. Like, what happened to people making fun of my jollof rice when I went to school? What happened to that? Now everybody wants to be, but before it was, y'all. Before it was, why aren't you eating a PB&J? What are you eating? Why does it smell like that? But now it's, oh my God, I saw Burn Up Boy in concert. Now it's, do you even know what Igbo Anchayo means? Anyways, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sorry. I just like to, sometimes I flug my white brothers and sisters too much. But sometimes they deserve it. And you know who you are. Anyways, y'all, let me know if you're big upping your culture right now, or if you're not big upping it. I respect you and I see you and I get you. Come on now. Everybody's welcome here. I want to know your guys' opinions, like, genuinely. I think this is going to be such a fun space for us to all talk about our opinions on stuff. Bye, guys. That's all I have to say for this video. Like, subscribe, fucking share, do all the ting, fucking do everything. Fucking follow me on fucking TikTok, bitch. Follow me on the gram. Follow me, or you be in big trouble. I'm just playing with y'all, but do what you want, and I wish you a blessed, beautiful night or day. Whatever time you're watching this, I wish you a blessed, blessed, blessed day. Genuinely. And I hope you enjoyed. Bye, y'all. Bye, Pookies. Bye. Bye, guys.